What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Arnold, aka the Dreaded Vegan, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to a video by Paul Bashir. I always struggle with his last name. He's talking to someone in Paris, France, outside of Cuba Truth. Basically, the title of the video is "You Can't Justify Killing Animals." So let's see what he has to say. For the record, Paul Bashir is probably one of my favorite vegan activists. I just love his direct approach to things and his no BS attitude towards it. So let's check it out. Let's see what he has to say.
Have you seen any of that kind of footage before? Yeah. And how does it make you feel when you see it?
Makes me want to change the way we are consuming meat.
How does it want to make you change it exactly?
This is the first part of it that lets you know, like what she said, make me want to change the way we're eating meat. Right here, I already know just from watching Paul Bashir's other videos over the last few years that I've been vegan, that kind of triggered it right there. That's where it started. Right there was them wanting to change the way they're eating meat instead of changing the fact that they're eating meat. Yeah. I'm actually gonna switch this over. Yeah, let's get it.
Maybe not buying it.
Yeah.
At first.
Yeah. What power do you think we have to change that? By going vegan?
Right.
Switching the way we buy food, like not buying from the big retailer or local or organic.
But
that's the thing. Like, the thing about that is that too many people think that it's where you buy it and not the fact that you are buying it. Regardless if you buy it from Walmart or you know, some big retail company, or if you buy it from a local food market, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, and I'm guarantee Paul's already gonna say it. But the fact that it matters at the end of the day, it shouldn't even be happening to begin with.
see, I just said we're showing local.
Okay.
We're showing organic, free range, grass-fed, cage-free. You know, all those labels, by the way, they're designed to make the consumer feel better, not the animals. Because, you know...
See, like, and that's the thing. That's the crazy thing. It's like, none of those labels, the cage-free or the organic or the free range, none of that matters to the animals. First of all, the animals don't even understand what that means. Second of all, it really doesn't it doesn't change the fact of what's happening to the animals. It only changes how you feel about consuming the animals. Oh, well, it makes me feel better because these animals are free range or cage free or organic or locally raised. None of that matters, yo. None of that matters to the animals at all, whatsoever. They don't care. They don't understand that concept anyways. So, like, all they know is, this is where I live. This is all I deal with. Oh no, I'm getting on a truck. Or, oh no, I'm getting on this loud machine that's taking me somewhere. Where am I going? Oh my goodness, I hear the sound of my brother or my sister or my cousin or my friend. They're screaming. Oh no, I'm freaking out. That's what they understand. They don't understand this whole free range, because at the end of the day, all of the labels, they all go to the same slaughterhouses at the end of the day. So like I said, it really, like Paul's going to explain, it really just, these labels are just meant to make the consumers feel good about, what's the phrase? Feel good about the bad habits. You know, that's it.
You know, the animals, they get tortured to death regardless, even on a small farm. So at the end of the day, they're still being turned into a product.
Right.
How do we justify turning sentient beings animals who feel pain, who suffer just like we suffer, into products? Can we?
And I don't think people really I think people know, but I don't think people really recognize the fact that these animals do feel pain. They have the ability to feel pain, to suffer, to be in anguish. They also have just as much the ability to be happy, to be joyful, to love, to show love. And it may not necessarily be the same way that us as humans show love, but at the end of the day, they have their own way of doing it. Just like babies, like human babies have their way of showing love to their mothers. Just like mothers have their way of showing their love to their babies. It happens all across the spectrum, all across the board in any kind of animal. Whether it's the kind we eat or the kind we don't. Like, they all have that ability. And so it's like, why would we intentionally and knowingly decide to take that kind of happiness, that kind of joy away from an animal purely for 15 minutes of sensory pleasure? You know, I think that's insane. And the more I've gotten into veganism, from the very beginning, and it just kind of reiterates the reason why I'm a vegan. You know, it's just because why, you know. And it's crazy to see the justifications or non-justifications that people try to come up with.
Can we justify that?
I mean, there's a simple way to kill the cow. For example, if you have a gun,
Yeah.
then it's a headshot,
Yes.
and then the animal is not suffering anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
And there are many farmers in Germany especially that
Okay.
do that like that.
Yep.
So there's no suffer.
Yeah.
I mean, and they don't like to exclude the meat out of their, like, food-wise, so they still eat,
So they eat the whole animal. They make full use of the animal.
of course.
Okay, now let me rephrase this in another context, okay, for you. Let me replace this injustice with another injustice. So let's say we're talking about racism, for example, okay? So if I was to say to you, don't worry, when I harm black people, I do it really quickly. I make sure they don't feel any pain. I give them a sleeping drug, and then I rape them when they're sleeping. You would obviously,
Different.
why would it be different?
Because we're talking about humans, and that's different.
But isn't the question,
Animals, and when we talk about
what's the
living
difference
organs,
between an animal and a human? Because we're animals, aren't we?
Yes, like biologically, but
See, so soon as that happens, soon as we put it into a different context, all of a sudden it's different. When in reality, it's not. It's all about logical consistency. Like if you're gonna take a stance against one thing, against one sort of injustice or one way of injustice, and but won't take that same thought, the same line of thought, and put it towards another injustice, then you're a complete hypocrite. You're contradicting yourself. Like the example racism. You know, if the person says I'm gonna harm these black people, but I'm gonna do it really fast, or I'm gonna rape these black women, but I'm gonna do it really fast, and I'm gonna give them a sleeping pill so they won't feel it at all. Does that make that okay? Does that make the act of raping them still okay because they don't feel it, because they don't know it's happening? In reality, no one would say yes. Like no sane human would say that the act of raping a woman, whether she be black or otherwise, would be okay if she was sleeping so she didn't feel it. It's still rape. The act of raping the woman is still bad. Period. And that's the same ideology that goes towards these animals. So because they don't feel it, that doesn't make the act of what you're doing, shooting them in the head, slitting their throat, draining their blood, it doesn't make that act any better just because they may not feel it. You know? That's crazy.
We as a society would define different. We as a species eat other species.
But biologically, they suffer like we do, don't they?
Yes, true.
So isn't that all that matters?
Matters.
Isn't that all that matters?
Of course.
What else matters?
Everything matters.
What else matters other than that? Does anything else matter other than the fact that they suffer?
I get your point.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say about the comparison that I was trying to make, it might seem a bit extreme, but the reason I'm making that comparison is that the victim at the other end of this choice has to suffer, and there's a consequence with that choice. So with this, we can say maybe it's the way that the animals are killed, but there's no right way to do the wrong thing, is there?
Right.
We have to establish whether this is evil, what we're doing to the animals, and then we can't have it both ways. It's either evil or it's not.
I have a question.
Sure.
I heard, I don't know if it's really true, but because I saw it on the internet, but does
If you saw it on the internet, it must be true.
does it feel any pain when we are eating them?
There was some scientific studies that showed that they have response systems to different stimulations. Plants.
So that's a really big thing. That's a really big question that comes up oddly really frequently towards vegans and vegan activists is the ideology that plants feel pain. But I think there's a misunderstanding of the research, and the research says that it's not that they feel pain, because in order for any being to feel pain, there must be a brain and a central nervous system. That's why humans have the ability to feel pain. That's why cows have the ability to feel pain, and dogs and cats and mice and fish, and like that's why these animals have the ability to feel pain. Excuse me, because we have brains and we have a central nervous system. The nervous system is what gives you the feeling, the physical feeling, and the brain transmit that into pain, as well as the mental anguish that you have as well, because the brain, the functions of the brain works in such a way, the chemicals make up this ideology of mental anguish, and the same goes with other animals as well. The problem with the aforementioned scenario about plants feeling pain is the fact that they don't actually have a central nervous system, nor do they have a brain to control any of that information. However, they do have the ability to react to stimuli, as you see if you plant a tree and you notice that the tree, the fact that the tree is growing lets you know that it is reacting to stimuli, whether it be from the water or from the fertilizer or from the sunlight. Like those are stimuli that's acting upon the seed or acting upon the plant. Like if you notice like a relatively grown tree, or like a maybe a short tree about this tall, but if you notice a lot of the times they tend to lean, and usually when they lean, they're leaning towards the sun, because again they are reacting to stimuli, or they're leaning or they're bouncing back because they're reacting to the stimuli. If you touch it or something like that, things like that happen. Or you can kill off the seed off the rip if you touch it at the wrong time, or you clip it, or you cut, whatever the case may be. But yeah, they have the ability to react to stimuli, and the ability to react to an outside source, to like acting upon them. But it isn't the same as having the ability to feel pain or having the ability to suffer like an animal would, because again of the lack of the nervous system or the brain to control any of that information.
Plants are intelligent. That is a scientific fact. They are very intelligent. Obviously, they've evolved over thousands upon thousands of years. Very intelligent, but what they haven't proven scientifically is that they are sentient, and that's the difference. Intelligence is one thing, but sentience is another thing. Sentience means you have the ability to experience reality. So you have a brain and a central nervous system, and plants don't have either of those things. But even if someone was to consider us to to be killing a sentient being when we eat plants. Even if someone was to convince me that plants have feelings, then when you go vegan, you actually consume the least amount of plants, so it still makes more sense to be vegan. Because if you are concerned with the lives of plants and the suffering that they may endure, then being vegan kills the least amount of plants, so it would make the best argument for being vegan as well. Because we eat plants directly. All these animals are fed plants in order to keep them alive and to make them fat before we kill them. So what do you think happens with most of the plants that we crop farm? It gets put aside. Over 50% around the world gets put aside and fed to these animals before we chop them up and eat them. So you actually can.
So that's the thing, and like, there's a lot of people that want to try to dispute that, but I mean, it's indisputable. It's complete fact. I mean, it's not hard to find that information out. And there's no way on the planet, there's no way in the world that it'd be possible for humans to humans. We are about 7.5 billion people on this planet. However, the problem with that is that there are about 70 trillion, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain there are about 70 trillion animals that die every year in animal agriculture. So if you look at that, if there are 70 plus trillion animals that die, and there are only 7.5 billion people on the planet, well, let's put this in perspective. Cows, for example, weigh significantly more than most humans, than the average human. So therefore, they eat more. They also have more stomachs to feed. So they eat, and they're constantly eating. They're always eating. Humans don't eat like that. Humans don't, on an hour by hour, minute by minute basis, do we eat like that. We eat, then we rest, or we go exercise, or we do whatever, or we go to work, and then we eat again, and then maybe that's our lunchtime, and then we go back to work, and we do other things for X amount of hours, and then we get off work, and then maybe we go to the gym, so maybe we eat before, or maybe a smoothie, or something like that, and then we work out, and then maybe we'll eat dinner at the end of that. So now we're at about 3 meals, versus a cow that doesn't really have a meal, but more like a continuous cycle of eating. Maybe short stints of not eating here or there, but for the most part, it's one of those things where they're either eating or briefly not eating, and then they go back to eating again. And this happens on these farms, especially these big massive farms, but even on the small local farms too. I'm happy to say that this is how animals work. We don't eat nearly even bodybuilders don't eat nearly the amount of calories as the vast, like maybe you have your world's strongest man that may eat like maybe they eat as many calories as cows do, or something of that case. But we all know that the amount of people that train for the world's strongest man in those kind of competitions are in the supreme minority versus the rest of the world. So we don't really eat like that. So therefore, we as humans would consume significantly less plants than just by eating straight plants than we would technically if we're eating animals, because animals have to eat so many more plants than we could ever consume.
Consume far more plants when you're not vegan than when you would if you're vegan.
How about wild animals?
Wild?
Wild animals. I don't know, like deers. I don't know.
What about them?
Yo, he said deers. My guy, word is deer. It's deer if it's singular, it's deer if it's plural. Sorry, I had to.
What you don't have the relationship with an animal that you're raising, right? So how about we change that? If you kill, for example,
So we all become hunters.
No, like not all.
What
to supply everyone with meal.
Yeah. We only kill.
Not possible, right?
Right. So you're suggesting perhaps what we could do is only kill wild animals?
I don't suggest to do.
No, sorry. I'm just trying to understand your.
I want to ask you, what is your opinion about wild animals, killing of wild animals? because you don't have the relationship with this animal anymore.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Well, it's not necessarily about the relationship. It's about whether we have the right to do this to animals at all.
Right.
Whether it's a wild animal or it's an animal that we've domesticated and bred into existence.
Okay.
The idea is that they don't belong to us. They're not here for us.
Yes. Okay. How about when a lion killing a gazelle?
Yes.
When a lion kills a gazelle. Okay. If you're not a vegan and you're watching this, please stop making this comparison. We are humans. We are not lions. We are humans. We do not do the things of lions. We do not do anything of lions. Yeah, I may have lots of hair like a lion, but I promise you, I am no lion. I have hands. I don't have claws. I don't walk on all fours. I don't live in the Sahara. I don't eat raw meat. I never ate raw meat even before being vegan, because eating raw meat is disgusting, and I don't know, it could be deadly to human health. It is terrible for human health. We were not made to eat raw food, not raw animal products at that. That's just not how we work. Otherwise, if we did work that way, we wouldn't get sick. Salmonella wouldn't exist. You know? Come on. Lions, we're not lions. We don't eat gazelles. Lions eat gazelles, and lions do eat gazelles. Why? Because that's who they are. For one, they are carnivores. Two, that's all they know, because they don't have the moral capacity that we do. Or the what's the word I'm looking for? He's probably gonna say it in the video. Moral agency. We don't have the moral agency. Or they don't have the moral agency like we do. We have the ability to know right from wrong. That whole ideology of right from wrong doesn't exist in the animal kingdom like it does for humans. This is just I already know where this is going, and
He has the right to kill the gazelle.
I wouldn't say he has the right to do that, but they don't have moral agency, and they don't have the level of consciousness that we say that we have. Humans say we're the most intelligent, the most civilized. Well, how come we don't act that way? If we look at lions for our moral guideline, we're not going to get very far, because, you know, they kill their own cubs. They kill their own babies if they believe that they're runts and they're not going to live very long. They kill them. We would never do that to our babies, would we? We could never justify it based on a lion's behavior. You know what I'm saying? We would never get up in court and say, but lions do it too, Your Honor. That's why I killed my baby, because I thought the baby wasn't going to live very long.
They're not doing it for like killing gazelle. The lions are killing the gazelle just for
survival.
They do it for survival.
Right. And what's our reason?
And in the past, we also did that, right? They were like.
Yeah, we did it.
it's like I feel like people don't pay attention ever, because so many people say the exact same argument, and it's crazy. Like the whole, oh yeah, well we did it in the past. I can't remember exactly when this video was filmed, but right now, well, it's probably filmed before this time. Obviously, you know, whole coronavirus situation. We'll get to that in a later video. But like, this is crazy because like so many people say this. Oh well, we did it in the past, but it's 2020 now. That may be 2019. This particular situation, because we're only in April, and we've kind of been quarantined for a little while now. So, but it's say 2019 or whatever, or the 21st century. Period. We don't need to kill animals to survive anymore. It's not a necessity. We're not in survival mode anymore. We're not currently in survival mode. Just point blank. Period. I really don't. I feel like I don't need to go any further than that. We are in survival mode. This isn't the Ice Age. We don't have to kill animals to survive anymore.
nations
Yes.
who are living because they can only have one supply.
Yeah,
as the mean, right? And now we as a society develop that high, we can now choose if we want to live like these or live like that, right?
Well, we've had
Our choice.
Exactly, we've
But
got
in
a
the
choice
past,
now.
We had that choice.
So what are we doing with that choice that we have now?
So we can choose either this way or both ways.
So why aren't we choosing to be vegan?
Because there are people who are not going for the one way or other way, because they'll just use the easiest way.
So you think it's easier to not be vegan?
It's easier to not think what you're doing.
Oh, right, I understand. That's a good point. Yeah, that's true. It is. It is. Ignorance is bliss, as they say.
Yes.
But do you agree with that statement?
I don't know.
Do you agree that by looking away from this, that's the answer?
That's a weird way to answer that question. Do you think... Let's back up some.
And that's a good point. Yeah, that's true. It
So
is.
he
It is.
says-
Ignorance is bliss, as they
Ignorance is
say.
bliss.
But do you agree with that statement?
I don't.
And then he says, do you agree with the statement that ignorance is bliss? And then the answer was, I don't know. Like, that's a weird, like, that's kind of, like, how do you ride the fence on that question? Do you believe that ignorance is bliss? Yes or no? It's not real, there's no real gray area there. So it's odd that he kind of, like, just, kind of, like, shied off of that question. Oh, I don't know. Do you believe ignorance is bliss? Yes or no? Leave a comment below. Do you believe ignorance is bliss? Yes or no? That's all I need.
No.
Do you agree that by looking away from this, that's the answer?
No, it's never an answer.
Okay, so what do you think the answer is? For you three as individuals, what do you
Always
think
take
you can do?
responsibility for your choices.
What do you think you can take responsibility for?
For your life, for others' lives.
Yeah? So what do you think you can take responsibility for? Whose life can you take responsibility?
He's actively, like, not answering the question that he knows the correct answer, but he's trying to not answer the question, and it's weird.
This life.
Okay.
Okay?
And what can you three do today?
Today.
What do you think you can do today?
Change.
What we can do.
I'm already lost.
You already lost? Alright, so let's just bring this back full circle, shall we?
It might be.
Do we think that what we do to animals is evil?
From a moral perspective, it's evil.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
A moral perspective.
Yes.
You? Do you think what we do to animals for a hamburger is evil? Yes or no?
I mean, like, I'm trying to...
You would say that?
I'm trying to
Okay,
figure
and
out
what would
why
you
it's
say?
such a struggle.
You would say, okay. Now we've established that our relationship with animals is evil. What we do to them is evil, right? For a trivial reason such as a sandwich. Now, what can we do about it as individuals? You've established it as evil. Now, what are you going to do about this evil?
I'm just baffled, like how. I'm just baffled by the inability of them to answer the question. Like it's so strange. Like I guess it's that whole cognitive dissonance, but like it's just so strange to see the wheels turning and they know what they need to do, but they're fighting themselves with not doing it.
So how about I make a suggestion, because I've asked this question a few times now. How about I suggest that you can go vegan, which is the least that you can do for the animals. That way you no longer contribute to this. You no longer support this.
Right.
And you no longer have the blood of these innocent animals on your hands. You can walk away from supporting this for the rest of your life today. And the next thing that I would suggest you do is to speak up for these innocent beings. To say something about this. With your friends, your family, those who are around you, speak up because injustice will never end. When you see others being bullied, you have to speak up for those who are being bullied. And animals are being bullied by humans. They're weaker than us, we have more power. We practice that power on them for bad instead of good. But now we can practice that power for good when we stop harming them and start speaking up. Does that make sense? So do you think you could all do that today by going vegan?
We could do it, yes.
Would there be anything stopping you?
No.
Okay? That's easy. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys listening, being open-minded. One thing you realize when you go vegan is that you're actually not changing anything about who you are. That's important to remember, because you all say you're against animal cruelty, right? So when you go vegan, you're only aligning your actions with the set of values that you say you have.
And that's what I love about it, is that you don't have to change. It's actually not about you changing. And that's the beauty of veganism, is that you're not changing anything. Realistically, you're not changing the essence of who you are. All you're doing is you're now aligning your actions with the words that come out of your mouth. Because the words that come out of your mouth say, I'm diametrically opposed to animal cruelty. I do not like people that abuse animals. I hate the ideology of abusing animals. I think abusing animals and torturing animals and enslaving animals is evil. So when you become vegan, now what you're doing is you're aligning your actions with your morals, because your morals say you hate it and you're against it. But by not being vegan, you are still contradicting yourself, and you're still being a hypocrite, because what you're saying, what's coming out of your mouth, isn't the same as what goes in it. So when you become vegan, you're now what you're putting in your mouth equates the same thing that comes out of it.
And so it's an easy transition, really, when you look at it that way. And as long as you put the victims first and you think of the suffering they endure, if you think of that, it makes the decision easy, no matter what you need to do in order to be vegan. So just remember that. All right, much love, and thank you for your time. Take care. See you.
I love Anonymous for Voiceless. I think they're an incredible organization. I think they do some incredible work. Let's get that off of there. They do some incredible work. Yeah, I think Anonymous for Voiceless, I love that organization. I think they're really strong, and I love Paul Bashir just specifically. Just because, like I said, he's so straightforward. He's so strong in his convictions, and because of that, I think the animals love him too. Like he's not willing to take a subpar answer, you know, unless there is some time constraints if they've been there for a very long time. But otherwise, like, he's not willing to take these kind of wishy-washy answers. But anyways, that's the end of the video. I really, really appreciate y'all for watching. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section below. Please do me a favor and hit subscribe. I'm going to be trying to do as many videos as I possibly can every day. Maybe every day, maybe every other day. I have to kind of see how my schedule is going to work with uploading videos, with this being my first video. But when I get that all figured out, I will definitely let y'all know my exact schedule. It's going to be crazy right now, especially with the COVID-19 situation going on right now, and me being an essential employee. I work at a grocery store. So with that being said, definitely be safe. Stay home if you can. Let's try to stop this virus from spreading even further. Until next time, I'll see you later. Peace.